Hi, great to see you all again. Welcome back to the second part of how to import manipulatable SVGs. In the first video, I showed you how to import or add SVG into your HTML as SVG knows. Manipulating or handling those SVGs are very easy and will hardly take a minute or two to show you. So in this video, we will see about how to manipulate or handle imported SVG by customizing the tags as individual group using G tags. So without further ado, let's do some code. I have made a small change in our HTML to show this text container and added some style property. If you want to code along, you can get this same code from my GitHub. The link is on description. Make sure you are in the branch part 2 initial. So this is how it will be shown in our browser. When I click on any part of our SVG image, it will display that part name here. Now it's showing the word watch by default here and it's not functional yet. This state will change just in a minute. So back in our code editor, starting with our SVG file, first thing we have to do here is grouping the tag using G tag and giving an appropriate attribute value. So I'll be using this custom attribute port name. Since this particular tag is responsible for rendering our outer body of our watch, I'll give the value as watch body and I'll do the same for other tags also.
Also, I'll be adding this class name element to all the G tags, which we'll be using later to bind event listener with those tags. In a minute, I'll show how to add event listener with class names. Back in our script file, I added a new variable part name. The value of this part name will be appended to the DOM element with the ID part name. In our DOM, it is a span tag, and currently I gave a value as watch. Now I'm creating another variable called group within which I will have our collection of HTML elements with class name element, which we created just a minute ago in our SVG file. So we will be using this group as array and iterate over its item to add an event listener. But this getElement by class name won't return exactly an array. Instead, it will return a collection of HTML element objects. So I'll show how to iterate over this group in a for each loop just in a minute. What this array.form will do is it kind of tell our JS engine to consider this HTML element collection as an array. Now we can use the group as an array and iterate it over to add an event listener to each of its item using add event listener method. So the first parameter is the type of the event, which will be click event in our case. And the second is the callback function that will run on every click event. So let me log the value of our clicked event. I'm using this keyword. So this keyword is associated with our click event, which will return as the element in which that click event is occurred. Before we see how that happens, we need to do some changes in our previous code. When we create this XML HTTP object and call this send method, it will fetch data asynchronously. So when these lines of code run, we might not receive those SVG data at all. And since there is no data, the getElement by class name method will return an empty array, which in return won't add any event listener to the element even after those data are fetched. So to solve this problem, we have to run this code after we calling this onReady state change method. So what I'm going to do now is to create a function set part name and put these codes into it. Also, I'm calling this method after we add SVG element to our image container. Back in our browser, when I click on the SVG image, you can see that the respective G tag element is logging. So the keyword this will return the entire tag to which the listener is binded with. This is how this keyword works. That being said, in the log element, we can see our custom data attribute data part name. We will use its value to append over our text container. We can get the value of this attribute using this.getAttribute method and mentioning the name of the attribute as its parameter. Let us test if that works. It's working. For some reason, my cursor pointer is not recorded in the screen recording, but just know that I'm clicking on the appropriate SVG element and that. So I have to store the value returned by this.getAttribute method in our part name variable. Now we have our part name string. Only thing left is we have to update this value to our DOM element. So I'll be using this dog.get element by id part name dot inner text and giving it a value to our updated new part name variable. Back in our browser, when I click on different part of our image, you can see that our value is changing. That's all folks. We successfully worked with SVGs and have shown you how to manipulate SVG. Even though I haven't manipulated anything within the SVG, I've manipulated the DOM with SVGs. This is very basic. If you know this, you can use it in different applications based on your needs. Also, I wanted to make it clear that this is how I would work with SVG, and different people have different methods. So if you came across any other SVG video, ping that link in comment. So it will be helpful for other people who viewing this video. Also, as I said before, that have the initial code and finished code in my GitHub. So link in the description, and the final code will be in the master branch. If you find this video interesting or not, either ways subscribe to my channel. I'll meet you with a new concept in my next video. Thank you.